Yo, what's up, guys? Back again doing the Road to Ufc Shanghai episode 2. Yesterday we did episode 1. If you haven't seen it, go on the channel. You can find it. Did a full card breakdown and predictions video for the first 5 fights. Now we're going to do the second 5 fights. And yeah, man, I got a few bets for these cards already. So go to patreon.com/predictionguru. Get access to those bets, and you get access to these breakdowns before I do the video, so you'll be able to see my thoughts on the fights and make some assumptions, maybe make some extra bets off of my other breakdowns. But hit the like button on this video, man. Go support the channel on Patreon, make yourself some money, and let's get into these breakdowns, man. First fight of the night, we got two grapplers with Aziz Kadyrov taking on Mansour Kira. And Aziz Kadyrov, he's 21-6. Obviously, he's very experienced, but he's had some trouble getting fights recently. He hasn't fought since July of 2023, but his recent track record is really good. He's won 18 of his last 19 fights. He's gotten 4 wins in a row. 15 of those wins are finishes. And as far as opponents go, kind of been some good, some bad, but his last win, for instance, was over a 15-2 opponent. And it looks like he's a dangerous, aggressive, athletic guy on the feet, which makes him a serviceable striker. He throws some kicks, overhands, but he tends to use his striking to get takedowns. He crashes into the clinch a lot. On top, he does have some quick submission wins, but I feel like versus higher caliber grapplers, he is more of just a control guy. And in his last loss, which was in 2020, so it's been a while, he got out-wrestled, he got controlled against Balajin, and his game off bottom isn't great. Even in his most recent fight, he got taken down in the third round and held down. And when you look at Mansour Kira, he's probably the best hope for Indian MMA. He was born in New York, but he has Indian blood, very much represents that country. He went to school and lived in India from age 3 to 13, so he grew up there. And he's an elite grappler. He's Marcelo Garcia's first white belt to black belt student. He actually is, him and Dylan Danis, back in the day, they got in that beef with Marcelo or whatever happened, the issue they had with each other, and got kicked out. So that's what he was initially kind of famous for, that. And he had really, really good performances in the lower belt competitions in the grappling scene. He dominated, and then he had a lot of success at black belt too, but he wasn't like a crazy elite black belt. But he went pro in MMA. He's gone 8-0 since, so he's done really well. He went pro in 2022. He also had a bare knuckle MMA fight. That was actually the first time he ever stepped in there and did it. So props to him. Obviously, he's with it, and he won that fight as well. So he's 9-0 if you include that. And he's had his career mapped out well. I mean, every fight he's had has been on UFC Fight Pass. He fought on George Masvidal's show, Icon FC. He fought on Anthony Pettis FC, CFFC, and Fury. And he made Fury his more permanent home of recent. His last 4 fights have been with Fury. And in November, he won the Fury FC lightweight title. So he has gold around his waist, and he's going to try to prove why he's a champion here in this fight and get a UFC contract. And he's okay on the feet. He seems like he is athletic. He'll throw some hard strikes. He can bounce in and out of range. He's not like a super unathletic guy, but his striking is a means to an end. He wants to use it to get the takedown, and very strong. Good singles, good doubles, nice body locks. He's explosive. He gets nice slam takedowns too sometimes. And he can be a little awkward with his takedowns, but they're effective. And on top, he has really heavy top pressure. He's methodical. He is really good at maintaining position, slowly but surely working his way to more dominant spots and then finishing you. And he has a lot of submissions he goes to. And even if he takes the back and maybe you're able to turn in or explode and get on top somehow in any position, he is good at attacking the legs and sweeping you, getting it back to the top position where he likes it. So I think that his grappling is top notch, and he's going to have the edge on the ground here, where both these guys mostly like to play. So Mansour Kira, I think he could get the finish or the dominant decision win here. I don't really see Kadyrov having a big knockout threat. I mean, there is potential, but he has 15 submission wins and only two knockouts. So, or one knockout, excuse me. So clearly, he's a guy that wants to get it to the mat and embraces grappling. And I just believe he's the lesser grappler of the two fighters here. So, on top of that, with him slowing down a little bit, I believe in fights and being the smaller guy, I think Kira could finish him in the later rounds. So give me Kira third round submission to kick off the card there. And continuing it along, this next card, or next fight, excuse me, we got Rio Turto taking on Aaron Tao. And with Tao, he's a recognizable name. He was on Contender Series. He ended up losing to Elijah Smith, where he lost the first two rounds and then came back, won the third, but came up short there. And he's a city kickboxing guy, so obviously that helps you get more opportunities. And at 31, you have to think that he has to take this serious, and he has to imagine that if he doesn't win this tournament and get a contract, he might never get in the UFC. So this is do or die for him. Turdo, he's in not as bad of a position in terms of that, because he's only 25. I think he has a lot of room to grow, and it's tough to know what he's going to do because he's an Indonesian prospect and has had all his fights in Indonesia. So he has to prove he's at this level because Indonesian fighters haven't fared well in the road to UFC. And he's fighting a tough opponent too with experience. But, you know, you look at him, I mean, he has big power. He'll try to move around and shell up Torto and then throw these wild punches from odd angles. One-shot knockout power. So standing in front of him isn't smart. You don't want to brawl with him. But if you can feint and draw out his offense, I feel like you could land on him. And also with all his shelling, if you just throw combinations on him, you could just TKO him potentially. But his power, that's his only possible godsend to me in this fight, is connecting with the heater and knocking Tao out kind of in a wild scenario. But Turto, he's strong and physical, but you know, when he gets takedowns against these lower level guys, he's just holding them on the ground. He doesn't really have submission threat, doesn't throw a lot of ground and pound, so I don't really rate his grappling too highly. He seems tough when you put him on his back. He doesn't quit. He will give his back and take damage, and he got easy out grappled in his last fight, but won in a blatant robbery. But I will say the kid is tough. But you look at Aaron Tao, you know, right off the bat, he's got the intimidation factor. I mean, his face is almost completely tatted. He looks fucking crazy. So he acts like a wild man inside and outside the cage, and you got to kind of get past that. But he comes to brawl, and skill-wise, I mean, I think he should be able to dominate this fight, but I'm not a huge fan of him. He's awkward on the feet. He's a plotter, bad footwork. He'll wing punches too. He's kind of similar to Turto, but he's just a little bit more refined in the style, and he'll mix in a little bit more variety of strikes. He'll go kicks. He'll go to the body, and I feel like he is better with his crackbacks and just a little bit smarter. But the one thing that I like about him here is he has a big wrestling and grappling edge. I think that he can get it to the ground and finish. And if he can't finish this fight, I mean, that would be a bad look. He should go out here and dominate. So I'm going to say Aaron Tao second round knockout, but I'm just not super impressed with Tao. But I think that's a fairly easy fight for him to get the win there. And next fight that we got on the card, Jin Ao taking on Chang Min Yoon. And Jin, 28 years old, Japanese fighters trained out of Shuto Gym Blows, which has quite a few fighters competing on these Road to UFC cards this weekend and on Thursday. And he's been a pro since 2015, fought for high-level promotions. He had fights with Shuto. He had fights with Ryzen. He's the current Deep champion. And he's won 5 fights in a row, and he hasn't lost in over 3 years. And for Chang Min Yoon, 31 years old, he's South Korean, 7-2 record. Hasn't lost since 2021, but he also hasn't been very active, and his last fight wasn't a win or a loss. It was a draw. So he's fought for one championship for most of his career, fought good opposition, but he actually hasn't gotten a win since March of 2023. So probably his final opportunity to get into the UFC, and his last run he could have at it at 31 years old, like I said. But You look at Jineo, solid striker, nice movement, stays loose, picks his shots effectively. His leg kicks are nice. He has good body kicks, good high kicks, good counter check hooks, pull twos. He's pretty explosive. He's gotten some knees up the middle and things like that on guys that were nasty, like flying knees. And he will time doubles. He's evasive. He's a guy that wants to pot shot you, time level changes, and his conditioning is on point. He's durable. He's pretty powerful. I feel like he definitely has the big power edge in this fight. 7 knockout wins for him as opposed to only 1 knockout win for Min Yoon. And on top of that, I believe that he has, or actually he has been submitted one time, excuse me. So he's been submitted once, but he's a difficult guy to submit a lot of the time. And I just feel like on the feet he's going to have the edge here. He's just going to have to keep himself off bottom in this fight. But you look at Min Yoon, he has decent in and out movement, nice straight punches down the middle. He'll get his jab going, 1-2s going, and then kind of feint the jab, corner the top with overhands, big power twos, and use that to set up his takedowns. And fast hands, but not super powerful. He's more kind of just touching you to level change and get you to the mat. And he has been knocked out twice, so he's not the most durable guy in the world, but he will more like mix in takedowns. I think his wrestling is where he could potentially differentiate himself. He has decent control. I think he could bleed the clock, win minutes possibly. Good rear naked chokes. He has 3 rear naked choke wins on his record, but he's been knocked out twice. You could pull him into power shots. I feel like AO is going to be able to do that pretty well. And I kind of lean towards Jin here. I think he's the more dangerous guy on the feet. I think he can hit and not get hit. I think he can defend the takedowns, keep the fight where he wants it, and get the finish. So I'm going to go with Jin, second round knockout in that matchup there. And continuing on, we got Agulali taking on Miradar Sakai. I don't know how to say these guys' names, bro. Fuck. But Agulali, really young. He's 20 years old, but he's already 12-1. He's finished 11 of his 12 wins. 5 of his last 6 wins are round 1 finishes. Currently on a 7-fight win streak. So he's killing it. And he trains at Enbo Fight Club, which is one of these gyms that has gotten quite a few of these Chinese fighters, into the UFC at a really young age. And some of them have went on and transitioned to other camps like Yudong Song and stuff like that. But clearly Enbo Fight Club is a very good gym. And you look at Agulali, he's a striker, decent grappling. He has good leg kicks, front kicks, straights. He'll pressure, feint, fake, be in and out, then look to jab kick and land counters. Nice counter hooks, overhand. You control his distance well. He can sometimes get kind of tall and leave his chin out there and get clipped, but for the most part, he's fairly hard to land on. And he doesn't look for offensive takedowns in a lot of fights, but he's a good scrambler. He's good at reversing the top position. Nasty ground and pound, nice submission game. He has a twister and knee bar finish in his last 2 fights, so he's been, showing off the repertoire there. But I don't know if he's the greatest grappler. I feel like he's just fighting guys that don't know how to grapple at all. But he's improving. He's serviceable on the ground, and his conditioning is on point. And you look at Sakai, he's undefeated, 8-0. He's 28 years old. All his wins are finishes, but he has that India stink on him, man. I mean, lower level fighters, you just don't know if he's going to be good at world level, but he's actually a good athlete, solid length for the weight. He likes to let fighters come to him, explode with 2-3s, 3-2s, okay low kicks, but hittable, inactive. I think he's going to be at a big disadvantage on the feet. And he's more of a grappler. I mean, he has a solid submission game. You'll see him hit nice triangles and scrambles, transition. He has a good guillotine, but I don't know if he can get this fight to the ground, and I don't know if he's going to submit someone at the caliber of Agulai. And you look at Agulai, I think he's primed to get the knockout here. He's just too slick on the feet. I think he's going to neutralize the grappling of Saika. And second round knockout is the prediction for me in that fight for Agulali. And finally, the main event for Episode 2, we got Kai-Win Lee. He's taking on Dong Hyun Seo, and a little bit more of a higher level fight here. Seo, he's a dangerous striker, a little older for 145. He's 34 years old, but hasn't lost a fight in 6 years, and he's undefeated at 145. He lost a couple fights at 155, but he's never lost at featherweight. His last fight, he won a regional title, but he hasn't fought in over a year. It seems like he stayed active, and he trains with Stun Gun Kim, so that guy was a great UFC fighter, and hopefully he's sharp. He kind of knows what to expect. And Siu's a technical striker. He throws really hard leg kicks, and they come without much tell. He has good hooks, body head, nice upper body movement, good footwork. But he tends to kind of rely on fighters to come to him at times and can get stagnant. It's like you could see he could move his feet well, but then he just stops. It's like, so I don't like his decision making sometimes. But his last fight, his opponent almost finished him, got confident, and Sarah was able to turn the tables and knock him out. So the guy's a good brawler, and he kind of relies on that too much at times. But his loss to Jae-Hyun Park, it's listed as a KO, but it was a submission, and he's only been knocked out once. So he's a durable guy. And Sarah's wrestling defense is decent, but I feel like if you can get him down, his grappling doesn't look the best. He gives his back to stand up. He will turn in and get on top, but his last loss, he got finished with a rear naked choke, and he will mix in some offensive wrestling. He is a brown belt, but I feel like on his back, he's not the best. He does have good ground and pound, though, if he can get on top of you, and I feel like in this fight with Kai-Win Lee, he's going to be looking to get the takedowns, get on top. But Kai-Win Lee's second chance on Road to UFC for him. He's an experienced fighter. He's still under 30 at 29, but he's been fighting pro since 2014. He fought for one championship 12 times, and he's 9-3, so done really well in their promotion. And he went 2-1 in Road to UFC competition last year. He ended up losing to Yi Jia, who's now in the UFC, but bounced back with 2 wins in a row, and this is his first fight of 2025. And Lee's a patient striker, kind of slow and plotty on the feet, but he stays tight, walks you down, and then when he explodes, he's fast. He can close the distance quick, and his hands and feet are fast. But he needs to be more aggressive in this fight, I feel like. Take the front foot, force more exchanges, because I think he's going to be a lot better in those exchanges. Throw faster, straighter punches. And I think he sometimes is a little too fearful of the takedowns, because he has good takedown defense. He has nice knees, elbows on the inside. But if he does end up on bottom, he normally does get controlled. So it's kind of a dog or pass to me. Lee has height for whatever reason, but I don't think he's the greatest fighter. In this fight, he should have the better striking. I think he can hurt Seau. He also should be able to keep it standing, but I just don't like him at an almost 3-1 favorite, because I could see it being low volume on the feet, and if Seau can get a couple takedowns, maybe he could steal it. But ultimately, my prediction is going to be that Kai-Win Lee wins a decision in that fight. So thanks for watching, guys. That is number 2, episode 2, excuse me. And I believe that, overall, it is a pretty good 2-fight card, and I am going to be trying to give you the predictions for the next 2 fights. So if you like these videos, hit the like button, put a comment down below. Let's try to get interaction, get more views. Appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.